Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, the front yard is mostly clear. Got a little bit that fell out of the maple trees over here on this side. They were one of the last ones to go. And there's a maple tree across the road that's dropping a few leaves in the yard. But I'm going to be able to pick those up now that I have the bagger pretty well arranged. But one of the things I do have to do is get up on the roof and clean off the leaves out of the gutters. Once again, I'll take the blower up there, take all the leaves out and clean them up. Got a little bit of trimming to do here. There's still some stand-up pieces that made it past the side, but that job's pretty well done. This, we're talking about putting a plate in there so that we can turn this into a bird feeder, squirrel feeder. Can't have the ceramic in there because it's getting down to below freezing at night, and I don't want to have the bowl for the bird bath breaking. And I have a few leaves that are coming down over here because we got a couple of young trees that are doing really good in the neighbor's yard. I like them. They look very nice, but because they're in such good shape, the leaves aren't falling off right away. So they're going to be dropping here for a little while. One of the things that I need to address is just how much junk there is along this fence row. When we bought the house, there were trees and shrubs and just little vines and raspberry bushes and you name it, it was there. So I intend to go through here with the tractor and yank out some of these trees, leaving some so that they'll fill in and taking some so that they're gone forever. That way I can go in here and not have a ugly mess of a thicket of raspberry bushes. Raspberry bushes are nice. It's nice having raspberries, but having them in there where you can't get to them and it just makes it so you can't get in and do anything, that's just ugly. So that has to be cleaned up. Talking about cleaning up this mess back here, I've still got more leaves on the ground to take care of. And these silver maple trees, this one over here especially, this big one, it's in pretty rough shape. Center of it's dying because it's really two trees that grew together. Silver maples tend to do that. They tend to split at the bottom. And this one over here, the center is dead, and that's killing off the center of the tree, so things are falling off. And that brings me around to the major part of my story. I really like that maple tree. It's doing really well. I think it should stay. This maple tree and that maple tree should go. That would do a couple of things for me. As much as I don't like the whole concept of, well, everything should be solar and green, not because of the idea of it being solar and green, but because it's such a con job trying to get us to do it. But having a place here in the center of the yard with enough open spot that I could put solar panels on the roof of a building, that would be a nice thing. Now, I jokingly called that building over there Old Sneelock's Annex. But Lydia and I actually talked today about taking these two trees down, pulling some money out of the bank, and putting in Old Sneelock's Workshop again. It won't be exactly the same as the other Old Sneelock's Workshop. It's going to be better. It would involve taking everything that's in the canvas, well, plastic tarp shed and the blacksmith shop, putting it into a building over here, which would be, we're not sure exactly what size it is, 3 or 4 bays. We have a camper that we want to look at buying that would need to go in there, because if you leave them outside, they get ruined. We want to have a spot for the tractor, and I need to have a spot for the workshop, so there'd be no more workshop in the basement, which is really nice. It's nice having it air conditioned and heated in the winter, but you can't really do anything heavy down there. It's too noisy and it's too bothersome for the family. When it was just me at the house most of the time during the day, it was no big deal. But now both of us are retired, both of us are in the house most of the time. Having stinky things like soldering stuff together or painting something, that makes it really difficult to have anything like that in the basement, because it's bothersome for the other people in the house. One more thing that would happen is if we put a building up here, say 4 bays long, enough room that I could have the wood shop and the machine shop and the welding shop and the blacksmith shop all on one end of it, and room to pull the truck inside, change the oil if I need to. Room for big projects if I wanted to do a big project. That would be really nice. Having a place to put solar panels on the roof so that it would be somewhat self-sufficient and not a drain on the power and everything else from the house, that would be even better. Not having a canvas shed in the backyard and getting rid of the little red barn so that I could put the tractor in the blacksmith shop, because the blacksmith shop would be empty. And it's nearly 3 times as big as the tractor, as the lawnmower shed right now, the little red barn. And getting rid of the canvas building, because I'm in the middle of upgrading the canvas building, and I'm looking at it and going, I'm putting a lot of work into something that's really not worth it. So that's why the workbench and the canvas building has been kind of dragging along, because we've been in negotiations now for a while. So taking this little building and taking down this big tree, which is really becoming a hazard because branches are falling out of it and it's becoming a liability. If it splits down the middle, half of it hits the house. And getting rid of that tree, we would still have trees all the way around the perimeter of the yard, so we would have plenty of shade, but we'd have the open sunlight in the center so that solar panels could actually do some good. Because putting them on the house, that big pine tree shades out half the house and the other trees shade out the other half of the house. So something about 48 feet long, 20 feet deep, that would be ideal. I don't know about how high to build the walls. That's something I'd like input from you guys. I'm thinking I want to be able to put something like a lift so I can pick up a car if I need to. Lift the tractor up off the ground. Heck, use it to change the blades on the mower. Tractor Man 44 put one in, and I looked at that and I thought, you know, that's awesome. That is really a nice thing. But I can't put one in the garage because the ceiling on the garage is too low. By the time I put the posts in, they'd be sticking up through the roof. Then I could lift up the car maybe a couple of feet before it ran into the garage door. About the same for the pickup truck. So that was kind of a thing that I'd like but not being able to do. But if I'm building a building, there isn't any limit to what I can have. So that's the thoughts behind what I'm doing back here in the backyard, is trying to figure out where I would go. ideally, the old Sneelock's Annex that I had dreamed about over here would be ideal. But putting in a pole barn that would give me the space to put the things that I need to put them in, still give us a little bit of backyard, because all this stuff over here would be moved. It would be different places. We'd have a nice maple tree with shade underneath it, a good place for a picnic table, and we could have a little bonfire spot over here, and it would look nice. Because this, even though I did my level best to make it look okay, is ugly. The idea of having a building, all the work stays inside the building, you shut the door, you can't see it. Now I might have things half done, I might be the same old messy Sneelock that I've been all of my life, but it won't be something that everybody has to look at all the time. So that's my thoughts on that idea. If any of you have a suggestion, I'd appreciate you giving me an idea of what you're thinking about in the comments. And I'd be happy to discuss it back and forth. There is no bad idea. No silly question. No way that you can say something, as long as you're not swearing, that would upset me by saying, hey, you should do this, or hey, you should do that. I may not do it. Doesn't mean I don't like the idea. Might just be a can't. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.